Hi guys, today I'm going to unveil 5 essential Power BI tricks that are simple yet transformative. Get ready to master dynamic visual titles that adapts to your slicers and filters. Also, we'll discover how to cleverly hide and show visuals by slicers. Next, we'll learn how to add dynamic date line or today line with regions to your charts, complete with description. Then we'll explore how to use previous period values into your table visuals. And finally, you'll learn how to spice up your report with icons through conditional formatting and DAX. If you're keen on elevating your data science and BI skills, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Now, grab a cup of coffee, sit back and watch. Let's start by the first trick. Here, we want to see how to make the title of the visual dynamic with the slicers and also the color formatting. For example, if you switch the department, you can see the color switches and the title also updates. The same for the grades. You can see grade 4 here, the colors here are changing. Let's see how we can do this. So this is the same visual without any formatting, just static color and title. The first thing we need to do is creating some calculated columns for the dynamic title and the colors. So let's create the first calculated column from the same table, the same source table. Let's create a new column. I have it ready, I'll just paste. So this column reads the grade, then dash the department. Just click on commit. Now let's apply the dynamic title. You go to format your visual, general, and expand the title. You can find here a button for conditional formatting. Click on it and you keep field value selected and you simply search for the column you just created, title. Here it is. Click on it and click OK. As you can see now, the title updates based on the slicer. Now let's see how we do the colors. Again, we're going to create one calculated column, one DAX column for the color. Go to the same table, right click, new column, and just paste again. So this has a condition based on the department. If department is sales, it will have one color. If it's human resources, another color. Otherwise, it will be the third color because we have only 3 departments. Let's hit commit. Now you select the visual again. You go to format your visual. From callout value, we'll change the font color the same way, conditional formatting, and select field value and search for the column you just created. So we have the font color has changed. Let's now go to general, title. We'll find the option for background color, again conditional formatting. You select field value and then you search for color. Click OK. So now we have the color of the background. Finally, we go to effect and you can add shadows from here. You keep it at the center and you change the color from here just the same way. Here we go. We have all the formatting apply. Let's test it. You can see the title, text is changing, the colors are adapting too. So this is the first trick. Now let's see how we can hide visuals based on slicer. So we have this slicer for the grade and we have here the 3 visuals for each of the departments with the employees count. The idea here, if you select grade 1, you can see that the department that doesn't have employees in grade 1 disappears. And this applies for all the grades. Let's see how we can do this. So this is the same report before applying the hide option. So we can see as we change the grade, we still see even the blank visuals. So the first thing we need to do here, again, we're going to create 3 measures, 1 measure for each of the visuals. Let's create the measures first and then explain how they work. So on the same table, right click, new measure. I have it ready, I'll just paste, we name it hide 1, and this has a condition. It checks if the count of employees is blank for the first department, the human resources, then you give it the color of the background. Otherwise, you give it the same color but add 2 zeros to it. So what we're doing here, if the visual doesn't have any number or shows as blank here, we'll use the same color of the background. Otherwise, we'll use any color or the same color, but we add 2 zeros here. Adding 2 zeros at the end will make the color transparent. So let's create another 2 measures for the other 2 departments and see how we're going to use them. So here we go, we have the 3 measures, hide 1 for human resources, hide 2 for research and development, and hide 3 for sales. So how we're going to use this? The first thing, we go to insert, from shapes, we just use a rectangle from here, click on it. Let's put it on top of the first visual. And then from style, we just hide the borders. Then we go to conditional formatting. From the top here, select field value again, and we simply search for the first hide measure. So this is hide 1 for human resources. Just click on it. Now you can see, because it has a number, based on our condition, the color will be transparent and we can see the visual. Now we just need to copy this 2 times for the 2 other visuals and change the measure. So this is the first copy. And from conditional formatting, we update it to hide 2. Click OK. See now, because it doesn't have a number, it shows the same color of the background and it hides the measure behind it. One more. Hide 3. And it shows the values. Now let's test here for grade 2. They all have values. Grade 3, grade 4, grade 5. So we have this chart showing the cumulative employees number over time for male and female, and it has a date line that separates the previous period from the predictions. And if you notice here, if I change the date, you can see that it automatically changes the line location to reflect the date. But we can keep it for today. It's always shows the line as today. Let's see how we can do this. So this is the same chart but without the regions and the lines. Let's now work on it. The first thing, we're going to create a new measure and we name it today equals, we use today function. So this will always reads today's date. Let's hit commit. Now you select the chart, you go to the 3rd tab here, further analysis to your visual, and x-axis constant line, expand this, add a new line. You can name it today. And for the value, we're not going to fix it. We're going to use conditional formatting. And we search for the measure we just created. Today. Here we go. Click on it. Apply. This will add the line for us. Let's format it. For example, black. And we keep the transparency at 20 or whatever. And then we turn on the shade area. We set the transparency for 80, for example, to see the lines behind it. And you can change the color from here if needed. The third option here, add data labels. Turn it on. We can see the label, the date added on the top. Let's change the color to black. And we can select the style and use both name and value. So we have the first label. Now we go back, we add another line and we name it previous period. And from line, we select the value the same. The measure we created today, select it, click OK. And for transparency, we set it to 100%. We don't need to see another line. We already have a today line. Let's collapse this. You keep the shade area off. We don't need shade area for the previous period. We already have it. But you turn on the data label from here. Then the horizontal position, you keep it as is. Vertical position, you switch it to under. Now it shows here. The style, you select name only. This will give you the name of the line, previous period, and we can change the color to black. So now we can see this labels this region, the blue region. Finally, we need to add one final line and we name it prediction. Now let's format it. From line, we start by selecting the same measure for the value. Today we have it here. Click OK. And for transparency, we set it to 100. We don't need to see this line, so we keep it 100. Then we turn on shade area, but this time we put it after. So it will be after the line, and we change the color, for example, to this one, and we set the transparency to 80. And you turn on now the data label and you select the horizontal position now to be to the right. Now it shows to the right, and the vertical position we take it under, so it will be here. Finally, the style will be name and the color black. So now we do have the today line with all the labels and the two regions. So now let's look how to use the previous period values. So we have this matrix. It has the different departments and the second level as grades, and we have female and male, and we have the current value, the previous year value, or the number of employees, and the change in percentage. And here you can see that whatever year you select, it will be the current year, and the previous year will be the year before it, so 2021. So let's see how to add those into the matrix and do a comparison between current and previous year. So let's start by creating measures for the current total employees for the current year, and it needs to be cumulative. That shows the total employees at that year. Let's right click here, new measure. So I have the measure ready. So the idea of this measure, it will show us the cumulative employees number based on the date. So if you're looking, for example, at 2023, you should see all the hired employees over the years till 2023. And to do this, we are going to use calculate function and then count the number of employees using the employee number column, and then we filter it for all the dates as long as the date is less than the selected date, which is going to be the year. And we here add 0, so if it's blank it will not show blank, it will show always 0. Let's hit commit. Now we need to create another measure for the previous year. Again, right click, new measure. I have it ready, I'll just paste, and we'll use calculate function based on the measure we created earlier for the cumulative employees for the current year, but we filter it for previous year. So we simply filter the date using the previous year function, and we add 0 just to avoid blanks, and hit commit. Finally, we need one more measure to show the change in percentage. Again, right click, new measure, and paste. So this measure, it will calculate the cumulative employees, which is the current minus the previous, and then divided by the cumulative to give us a percentage. However, it has a condition that if the cumulative number is greater than 0, then apply this. Otherwise, don't do it, because you can't divide by 0. It will give you an error. Let's hit commit. So now we can start adding the visuals. Let's start by the slicer from here, and we feed to it from the date table the year. Let's change the setting to vertical list. Now we add the matrix. We use a matrix view, and in the rows we're going to use first the department, then the grade. In the columns we're going to use the gender, and in the values we're going to use the 3 measures we created: cumulative employees, cumulative employees previous, and finally the change. Let's also format the change to be percentage from here. Let's expand the matrix to see the second level, and also you can rename the values. Let's rename the cumulative employees to current, and the cumulative previous year, just name it previous year, and we keep the change as is. And now we can sort also this matrix to descending to see the bigger year on the top, and we make the format from selection to single select. So now if you select one year, for example 2024, you can see the current, the previous, and the change for all of them. You can also remove the totals from this matrix from here, and the row total we keep it. And this is how you use previous values. Now the final trick for today, we'll see how to use the icons in your table visual or any type of visuals. You can see here we have the prices of different cryptos over the days, and you can see if the change is positive, it will show an arrow up. If it's negative, it will show down. And if it's flat or it doesn't change, it will show an arrow to the right. So this based on conditional formatting. Another option is to use icons or custom icons based on ducks. So we have the matrix before adding the icons. Now let's see how to use the conditional formatting for icons. Just select the matrix, and you have two options: either to access the conditional formatting from the values here, just click on the change, the arrow here, you find conditional formatting, then you select icons. Or you can go to format your visual from cell elements. You can find the icons here. You just apply it for the change and turn on icons. and click on conditional formatting here. So here where you add the rules. So the first rule, it will be from minus to 0. Let's put any big minus number. Just convert it to number. Less than 0. We need to select from the icon list here the arrow down, the red one. And the next rule, it will be if it's equal to 0. Again, select number. And we select the arrow to the right here. And finally, if it's greater than 0 and less than a very big number, let's just add some zeros here and select a number. Finally, the arrow up, the green one. But here we missed to convert this to a number too. Now you just click OK and you can see the arrows applied as expected. So this is the first option, but if you notice, we have very limited options for the icons. Let's see now how we can look into a much bigger list of icons. So in the second option, we're going to use ducks through a calculated column to create icons. And here you find a list of all the icons that you can use, and each one has a number. This number we're going to use to build the icon in ducks. I'll leave you a link for this page that contains all the icons, and there's a huge list of icons that you can choose from that can be useful for many types of applications. And even you have here, down here, you have emojis and other type of icons. Now let's go back to our report. So again, this is our matrix. What we're going to do, we're going to create a new column. Just right click on the price table, new column, paste. So I have a function here, based on the change. If it's less than 0, it will use a function called UniCharacter. So you just copy the number of the icon from the list I showed you earlier for the arrow down, and the same if it was 0, and otherwise if it's above 0. You can see each arrow has a different number. Let's just apply. Now we just add the calculated column to the values of the matrix. Let's rename it. We keep it dir or direction, and you can see it's not colored, but it's showing the direction as a value. And now if you want it to be colored, we can use conditional formatting. Just the same way, click on the arrow here and select conditional formatting, but this time you select font color, and we select a rule and paste on the change, the price table here, select the change. If it's greater or equal than very big minus number, for example, number, and less than 0, we give it the color red. A new rule, if it's equal to 0, again a number, we give it the color black, for example. And if it's greater than 0 and less than a very big number, we give it the color green. And you click OK. And you can see now you have the arrows colored as expected. That's a wrap in today's Power BI tips and tricks. I hope the insights we covered will help you to elevate your reporting game. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, leave your thoughts below, and if you're new, make sure to subscribe to this channel for more cutting-edge BI and data science insights. Until next time, peace.